Hey yo, what it do? It's your boy Rue, and welcome back to Reality. I've been on a little break, but I'm bringing you guys heavy rotation. If you've been checking out the Instagram page, we have the Heavy Rotation podcast exclusively on Spotify that drops every Friday. And this week I am interviewing Taina Rentas. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing
Get
good.
on that mic. Get on that mic.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Everything's good. I'm excited to have you here. Let's dive into, let us know who you are, what you're doing out here, what your
Hi.
sound is, anything that you want people to know.
Okay, hi. I'm an artist from Lawrence, Mass. I've been here my whole life, grew up, born and raised. Started writing songs back in middle school, turned into poetry turned into songwriting, and now I make music. Been making music for about a year now, but I have unlimited songs that I've been writing since then. So I'm not new at this, but I'm new on the screen. I'm a little nervous still, but we're getting there. Mostly my music is to inspire and to empower women and as well as other people. And a lot of my music just bases around my experiences in life. I don't like talking about things I've never experienced before. I don't like lying. And
No cloud chasing.
Right, no cloud chasing.
If
I'm being honest, I'm really awkward and I'm silly and I'm weird sometimes, and that's exactly how my
cool.
music reflects. So that's my goal. My goal is to reach an audience that can relate to that type of stuff and feel comfortable.
We love that.
Yeah.
I want to dive into, you mentioned that when you were younger you did poetry and songwriting. What type of poetry were you doing? What age? What grade? What was this about?
My goodness. I started writing poetry in 7th grade. And the only reason I started is because the school was having some students do some poetry or storytelling
for like that book,
for Scholastic.
Yes,
literally for Scholastic Award.
Did you get in?
I actually ended up getting Silver
You
Key,
were one
which
of
is
those
second
kids?
place. Yeah. And that was my
jealous.
first poem.
I'm jealous. I always wanted to be in it.
And that was my first poem that I had written too, and I got an award.
Do you remember the name of the poem?
It was called My House, and it was about my old house. And the kids that I used to live on the same street with, they used to always tell me that they used to think that house was haunted, and they would be like, "Oh, we saw people in the windows," and so
it's giving maybe that I was one of those kids on that street.
Yeah, probably. But these kids were so mean, and I was like, they were making me fear for my life. But then, growing up in that house, it was the first time I had really had my own big room when I was really little, because I was like 5, and that house was very important to me because of the memories. And so when I left, I had a hard time moving out. So when I wrote the poem, it was actually already after like a year since I had moved out of that house. And the poem was about, being a little scary, but also how that house became my comfort, and how the people living on that street also were important to me, and how they helped me grow up. Again, my parents were very conservative. I wasn't allowed to go out by myself.
Wow.
So the only time I really got out was outside to play with the kids on my street. And those kids were a little bit more reckless. They were able to walk around, go wherever they want.
Yeah.
So watching them live their lives is basically me, how I experienced living through them. And so I wrote that poem based on that experience. And then I've always loved singing. I've been singing my whole life. My parents used to make me sing before I spoke for everything. I used to hum jingles, and my dad used to make me sing for my bottle, so it's not new for me.
Okay, good.
And so then that poetry turned into songwriting.
So what were you writing about in the 7th grade?
Oh my God, I was writing
what
about
type of songs?
me being a little kid, having crushes, obviously writing about that stuff.
And look at, she has a single titled Crush. So
But yeah, mostly writing songs about crush. Also in middle school, I didn't have the best experience. People were really mean. Even still, back then I had a hard time finding a group. Everybody had their cliques. I was always floating around because I got along with the geeks. I got along with the kids that played sports.
You were an artist.
Yes.
That's how all
the art
creatives
kids,
are.
I got along with everybody.
We are the best of the best.
Yeah, but the thing about that too is it's hard to find a place to be comfortable with, stability type that. So in middle school, that's when that really started for me. So a lot of my music was also about not fitting in and feeling different. And it also it was more of a coping mechanism for me during that time, because really helped me reevaluate what was going on in my own head. Why am I feeling these feelings? Why am I so sad? Why are people treating me these type of ways? And it was just really there to help me.
What type of artists were you tuning into at that time?
Oh, big time. Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, and Melanie Martinez.
Mm-hmm. She's a little emo. Are you a little emo
yes,
girl?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, and that's also another part, like, reason why I got bullied so much. Like, I liked listening to artists who were storytelling and had real messages in their songs, not not rap or where you hear about just making money, shaking ass, and like,
that's a story too, baby.
I get it, but it's not my story. like respect, but that's not me. Like, I have no idea what that's like. I wanted there to be music to like help me understand like what am I going through.
And there's also a group of kids that are just like you who do not listen to that type of music. So having an artist that is creating that sound is helping them as well. Like, you have that song Goals.
Yes.
That was a whole different vibe from your whole catalog.
Right.
Does that stem from that? Like, were you channeling your younger self?
Can I be honest with you?
Go for it.
Goals is the one song out of all of them that I've made that I connect with the most. I feel like that is the biggest representation of me as an artist.
And I feel like you can kind of tell that.
Yeah.
I feel like it resonates in the track. Like, I was like, okay, she's singing a little different here. So I love that. What about when, so after the 7th grade, moving forward in the future, like, what else were you getting into, especially like in high school? Yeah. What was that like with songwriting? Did the topics of the songs change, or was everything still the same way?
As soon as I entered high school, I joined choir. Never had done choir before. It was very different for me.
It's funny, I did choir.
You have to like learn how to sing your part without getting messed up by other people's parts. Also, where I learned that I was a tenor to mezzo soprano, which was really weird. I'm like wide range.
Surprisingly, I know what that means.
But it was super fun, and actually big enough. From choir, I learned how to work with other people, and that was very new for me too. Again, I didn't have a crowd that I really stuck with. In high school is when I first started being able to be like, hey, these are people that I get along with. These people are nice. They stuck around for the whole year now, just not for like the week. Friends. They're friends, We love friends. Exactly.
Did you experience bullying or anything?
A little bit in high school. Not nearly as much as middle school. Middle school, I left it all behind. But like, I kind of like, once I entered high school, I used that as like, this is new place, because I started going to Methuen High, and there was only 2 kids from Lawrence going there.
That's a little friend.
Yeah, friends. But yeah, so it was like completely new people, so I had to like,
and
I wanted to change everything. No. They had walls during that time. We had walls.
Okay.
Back then they had walls, but we luckily had walls, new walls.
So did you do talent shows, local shows?
Yes.
When did you get into performing?
That started off with choir. With choir came the winter performance, then the spring show, and then sometimes we would actually go out places and do like singing for like what are they called? The nursing homes, or going to like meets with other choirs from different high schools and stuff and sing with them.
They had y'all good over there.
Yeah, but my favorite, what really got to me was actually my first time on stage was in middle school. It was 8th grade, and I used to be in a band. Before I did all this solo artist stuff, I was in 3 bands. Okay. 2 during high school.
Can I get band names?
Oh my God, are you ready?
Yes.
My first band was named Pepper and the 3 Salts. Because I was the only girl and the only Latina, and the rest of them were white boys.
Oh my God, okay.
And that band was the first time that I had performed. That was with the YMCA Music Clubhouse. And we had gone to Boston, Berkeley, because they were having this type of thing, which they do every year. They have music clubhouses from all around Mass come for a big performance at Berkeley, so kids can showcase their talent. And what had happened was that band, I hadn't joined them yet. I had just started going to the music clubhouse the week before. And the drummer, who was also the singer, broke his nose. So they had a backup drummer, but they didn't have a backup singer. So they begged me. So right after school, I know, right after school, I went with them to Boston, learned the whole song, which was Hitchin' a Ride by Green Day. Oh my God, I can't listen to the song now because it was so bad. But I had to perform
Green
that.
Day.
Yes, and I had to perform the song in front of 400 people.
Wow. Okay.
in an audience, and that was my first time ever on stage, and that's where I learned to love it because
Pepper and the Three
Pepper and the Three Salts.
I love that. Second band name.
Second band name, we didn't have a band name. We were only like they had their like, yeah, we didn't have one. We were just calling ourselves the band, and we were only together for like a couple of months. It was during high school with some other kids I met through choir who also were in band. Didn't last too long. We performed at some places, but they were super small. It was like more like the size of maybe, like this room was probably the size of the stage. Like it was super, comfortable. But then my last band that I was a part of, we only performed twice. And I don't want to talk about them because they're mean. But anyway, it was still fun. But I feel like working with those people, like in a band before becoming a solo artist, really helped me as well.
Which one do you prefer?
Pepper and the Three Salts all the way.
Do you prefer the experience of being in a band or being as a solo artist?
I like being a solo artist, but I feel like I definitely would be more comfortable with people behind me on a stage. A lot of people say live band.
A lot of people that come from like girl groups or like groups in general, when they go solo, they're like, I kind of would miss the whole like. You're not alone for a little while.
It's a different feeling when there's other people up there because you feed off of energy, and when you're surrounded by people that make you feel positive, you lose the sense of fear because fear and excitement are the same feeling. It just depends on how you look at it.
Okay. Let's talk about, so in high school, you started the songwriting, you continued it, and then what was your first song that you recorded?
Oh my God, my first song that I recorded was actually at Movement City. It was with Melix. Melix recorded it for me, but it was for my first real breakup. I was dating this boy for 2 years, and it was just a very toxic relationship. So I never put a title on the name, but like basically what it was about is like me letting go. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I need to learn how to love myself. I spent all my time loving you. I'm sorry that I have to let you go. Because I had such a hard time breaking up with him. It was multiple times. Like, it was like a process. I had tried to over the course of like 2 months.
How old were you when that happened?
I was like 16. 16. Yeah, it was baby. An age where you should not be in a 2-year-long relationship.
Well, we're Latinos, so
we
were doing
growing too fast.
We were doing what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you ever perform it?
No, never. No, never. I used that song to break up with him. I sent it to him. He's like the only person that's heard it.
I can't.
I know.
How did you take it?
Surprisingly well. Like, he was a little toxic to the point where he was like,
I love this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was like, this is good.
It's over.
But is this for me? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, it is. Like, you don't get it? Like, I was like, you're acting a little slow for this, but it worked, and it was, I definitely can say that it was way easier to do that than just try to have a conversation, because clearly conversation wasn't working.
Right. You're an artist. You got to communicate through your artistry, so I definitely understand that. Now, when you were in high school, were you working on any projects, or were you just still trying to figure out your sound, what it is that you were trying to do?
I was writing songs and singing them to myself all throughout high school. I actually did a few open mics for Movement City, as well as some other places around.
The field trip with the scooter.
Oh my God, not the field trip with a scooter. Oh no, I had hurt my leg with my luck, and I had this little scooter where I put my leg on top, and funny. I had to use the scooter everywhere, and we were doing a cleanup. So I'm hobbling around cleaning stuff up, and they're like telling me, go like get back on your scooter. And I'm like, but I want to help. It was so funny.
Yeah, so after the pandemic, I feel like that's when you kind of started to take music a little bit more serious.
Yes.
What was the first song you recorded in that era of your life that you were like, yo?
During the pandemic, it was actually in the open mic for Movement City. It was when I had stopped going for like a year-long period I hadn't visited, and it was my first time visiting back because Elvis had asked me to go. And I was like, you know what, fine, I'll go to this open mic, and I performed. And that's where I met somebody from my team, TTE. It was Meek. And Meek also had done the open mic, and he's like, oh, you have to come to the studio with me. So then I go to the studio.
That's the one that was outside.
No, it was inside. It was at the, what building was that? I can't remember. It was at a different location. It wasn't in Movement City.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was there. I met Meek, and then I met my manager because we went to somewhere to record a song together because he wanted to do something, and that's when I did Take It Slow. And my manager Sticky heard it, and he was like, you know what? we're going to the studio. Next day, we went to the studio, laid that down, and then later Knowledge wanted to hop on, and then Knowledge is on the track with me too. So
which I just
it was
heard
like that was my first song. That was,
and I'm like, wow, I did not know. I didn't even know the song existed, but it's definitely a hit. I love when Knowledge jumped on. Mm-hmm. What was that process like for you?
That was insane for me, especially like
because Knowledge,
yeah,
that's a big name, baby.
Yeah, because the engineer was GK Musica, right? And he was the one who told me afterwards. He's like, I've been waiting to do a song with Knowledge for 10 years. Wow. If that does not give you an idea on like how good you're like in place you are right now, then I don't know what will. Especially since this is like that was my first release song. And then this person like with a big name comes on. It was just like I still haven't processed it. Yeah. To be honest, it's a lot. I don't even.
It's good to have a good cosign on your back, you know.
Yeah.
So, what are you working on now? I know we heard "Crush." It's on the radio, right? Still spinning on the radio.
Yeah.
So, how was that? What was that feeling like hearing your song on the radio for the first time?
It was awesome, mostly because I'm in college right now, and two of my professors had heard it on the radio, and they're like, "That was you," and I was like, "Yeah," and they give me extra credit. So that was that's my favorite part about it. But it's still very nerve-wracking because I remember when I was younger in middle school when I first started writing, what the biggest thing to me during that time was like, oh my God, imagine my song being on the radio one day. And that was my biggest goal. And even until now, I still hadn't had a bigger goal. It was just like, if my song's on the radio, my mind will be blown. And then now that it's happened, I don't know what the hell to do with myself. And I'm just like, where do I go now? Like, I already reached the goal that I had as a kid, you know? So it's like, it's a little nerve-wracking.
I love that. What was it like being interviewed at Jammin'?
What, Latinx Boston?
Oh, sorry, Latinx,
yeah, my bad. Latinx Boston. It was super fun, actually. And it was a really good conversation. And they were just asking me about, you know, my experience, what inspires me, and I loved it. It felt so comfortable, and even I got invited to Selena's birthday party after, which was pretty cool too, and I performed there too.
What does inspire you? What inspires you right now? What's keeping you going?
Everything around me. I'm very observant. I'm like I guess you could say I'm a homebody. I don't like going out. I'm not really the type of party person. I'm more of the person that kind of sits back. We'll talk to you if you approach me, but I kind of just observe. And a couple of my songs that are out now, I'm not gonna say which ones, are not even from my perspective. They're from like people that I love, like how they view others and like how they view the world. And so like that's what my goal is, because again, like I want
Dangerous Bitch.
Dangerous Bitch honestly wasn't even like really completely
when I saw
me.
that on the catalog, I was like, what's going on over here? This is your alter ego?
Yeah, very much so actually. Like I guess we could call her Ania, my name backwards. Let's call her Ania, because Ania, there's a project that I'm planning on working on in the future with like, it's like a backwards world. And then my character's names are gonna be backwards. Oh yeah, I won't, but like just be excited for that. But that she's kind of like my alter ego.
So
confidence.
Dangerous Bitch is part of your alter ego. What other songs on your catalog right now?
Definitely No Patience.
Okay.
No Patience.
That one just
like I'm growing.
In January, right?
Yes, that one just dropped. And that I think I would say that they're the same person for Dangerous Bitch and No Patience, but I feel like I'm becoming more as my alter ego. I'm letting her appear out of me more.
But you're also so young and you're still transitioning in life, and so many things are going to change for you, and you know, so maybe you will become your alter ego.
Who knows?
Let's pray.
I don't know. I hope so. I love her.
To come out.
Anya.
Would you think you'd change your stage name?
Oh, definitely. That would be cool.
You heard it here first.
That'd be cool.
What other plans do you have? What else do you have going on that you can share with us and let us know? And
well, we're just working on making more songs. I don't want to disclose too much information about that because things are still happening. Crush music video drops next month on the 14th, so keep an eye out for that. Super excited for that. And I'm just working with other artists, trying to continue to push my music now, especially since it's hard. I'm still in school, but once the summer hits,
what are you studying in school?
You guys are not ready. Media production. Yeah.
Right up your alley.
Yes, because I want to get to a point where I can go back, because I wanted to do music management or like business management, but in the media industry. But my school didn't offer it, so I'm trying to go transfer somewhere else to be able to get that degree, because hopefully I'll be able to manage my own stuff and my team will be able to manage ourselves instead of hopefully getting signed somewhere bigger, you know, because contracts can be very sneaky.
And plus, also, it's good to learn. I always think it's good to learn all aspects behind of what you're doing, so that you know when you're sending money out, checks out, you know what you're paying for, and you know what you're supposed to be getting.
Exactly.
So let's go back, right? You mentioned your parents were conservative, really conservative when you were younger. How were they handling you with doing music? How was that process like growing up when they were like, oh, she wants to do music, you know?
They're very supportive. They've always been very supportive. They were just very protective with me going outside and being in the real world. So it's also like, I'm not blaming them for anything, because I'd rather them protect me than having to go through some things that I've seen people around me go through. But it's just kind of hard for me now, because again, I don't go outside. I go to school in Boston, and it's hard for me to even walk outside the school. I'm inside like all the time, and it's like,
because of that upbringing, you feel a little bit of like anxiety and stuff like that.
Very much so. I suffer so bad. Like, I get really nervous. Like, even being in a room full of 10 people, I can, in the first 15 minutes, if I'm not comfortable, if I don't know somebody, I'm out. Like, I can't do it.
That's good.
But it's also hard being an artist as well.
Because you are always in room with different energies, and sometimes the energies in the room aren't really the energies you're
and
used
there's
to being
no
around.
privacy. No privacy for anything.
How are you handling that mentally?
Not great. To be honest, not great. But I'm trying my best, you know? And a big part of my character, too, is I'm very honest. I don't hide anything. So if I'm having a rough time, I'll be like, yeah, I'm having a rough time. I want to be very honest with my fans and like the people that support me. I don't want to have to lie or try to hide anything, because just as much as I'm struggling with everything right now, so are my fans. So are my listeners. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're not in this alone. And sometimes it's just good to hear from somebody that you're a big fan of, like somebody who you love, like, and they're saying like, you know, they struggle too, and you're like, me too, I can relate. You know, it's a nice feeling.
And you might also gain new fans who listen to the music and they're like, wow, this is also what I'm going through.
Right.
So, real quick, top 3 favorite artists right now.
Top 3 right now? Billie Eilish, The Neighborhood, and Melanie Martinez.
Wow. Who is this Melanie Martinez?
She's Puerto Rican and Dominican. She's from New York, and her music is very alternative. She just dropped an album, actually, Portals, and you've probably seen her pictures of her or something. She was on The Voice before. She has split hair dye, like one side's black blonde. You have to listen to her. You'll love her music. You'd love it. But her music is just it's very different.
Dream feature? Would you dream feature?
Oh my God, I would die. I would die to work with her.
Melanie,
love her.
if you're out there,
please take me under your wing right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think that song would sound like?
Oh my God. I don't even know. Something amazing. It would definitely be the best song I've ever done in my life. I'd probably be critiquing myself way too much, honestly. Wow. But it'd be fun.
She'll probably think you're amazing.
Who knows?
You're being too deep into yourself. What is this new project looking like? This EP? Is there an EP in the work? An LP? Is an album coming? Mixtape?
Hopefully in the future an EP. But right now, still focusing on singles.
Okay, good.
I'm smart move. You know, I'm very tough on myself. So before an EP comes out, it's probably going to maybe take me another year or something, because I need to make sure that's on point, because that'll be the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. Definitely come through with a good solid sound. Definitely going through with a nice rollout. Make sure you have a good rollout.
Right.
Because, I was just telling Drippy over there, I'm like, nobody does rollouts anymore. It's weird. What do you look for when you're, so you said artist management, you wanted to get into that. Like, what do you look for when you're looking at an artist, when you meet an artist? Like, what are the first things that pop out to you that you're like, oh, this is working for you, this is not working for you?
I try to look at honesty. Honesty is the biggest thing for me. If they're, let's say somebody comes to me with a song and they're talking about having all this money, all this clout, hanging out with these people, and you've never even had that much money in your life, and you're not.
Aren't you?
I'm like, don't you live like down the street from me, and I live here, so I know you live here. Like, I know I'm struggling. You're struggling too, but yeah, it's stuff like that. Also, I don't really like when people put down others, even if we have issues. I've always like my morals are like always be the bigger person. People can always talk about you. It's going to happen. It's inevitable, you know. Right. But if you're sitting there with a smile on your face, that's gonna hurt them the most. Because you can be mean and talk shit right back to them. But if you sit there and you smile at them and you're like, thank you for your input, that's really going to break somebody.
Because you're not giving them the reaction that they're looking for.
Exactly.
I feel like you got, like, such a strong head on your shoulders.
Thank
so much
you.
Wisdom, so much maturity. I love that.
It comes from growing up by myself, being alone with myself. Made me think a lot. Yeah.
Thank your mom and your dad, please.
Thank you, Mom. Okay, thank you, Dad. Thank you. But, yeah. That helps a lot.
Is there anything that you would like the world to know about you?
To know about me?
That in 10 years you will look back at this interview and be like, I said what I needed to say.
You know what? Confidence is key, but so is education. My education, my educated mind is really what gets me the further than anything. I'm not a strong person. I'm very emotional, but I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And I know what decisions I have to make to get to where I want to be, but also how to do it right. And patience is also key. Not everything is going to happen fast. It's going to happen faster than others. And for me, things have been a little bit sped up, which is very different from my life, like based off of like what I do usually. But also reminding myself that it's okay. This is your process. It's different for everybody. You're going to end up exactly where you want to end up. Like, you're manifesting it. We're getting there. It's going to happen. It's not a question of if, but when. And just reminding yourself that. And just, you know, if you're sad and it's getting to a point where, you know, you're not enjoying it anymore and you feel held down, it's okay to take a break. Because just as much as you're doing it for your fans want to see the best of you. And the best of you is not going to come from you pushing and forcing yourself to do things for other people. It comes with yourself first. So even if that means in the future I have to take a 5-year break, then fuck it. I'll take a 5-year break and I'll come back stronger.
We love that. Snaps for the girls. All right. Well, I think we got a good amount of information here from you. I am so excited for the future and for what you have coming.
Thank you.
I think that you've grown immensely since I saw you at Movement City, and then you disappeared, and then COVID happened, and I was like, and then I heard Crush. And then I was just like, oh, this is what they're doing now. Yeah. So I am excited for what's coming your way. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm rooting for you over here. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me too. I had so much fun.
You are the first guest of this heavy rotation feature. So
special.
Make sure you guys check out Heavy Rotation exclusively on Spotify. It's a playlist that I curated for the Reality podcast. And thank you for coming on and being a part of the show. And yeah, my name is Rue Zalez, and I'm blasting off.